Welcome to the ThunderCast, your martial athletics podcast produced by the fans, for the fans. We're bringing you the thundering word on the thundering herd each and every week. So keep it right here. The ThunderCast is on the loose. We are back, baby. Thanks for downloading another episode of the ThunderCast. It is the 4-year anniversary from the inception of this show. The day we published our first episode just happens to coincide with April Fool's Day, but by golly, this is not a joke. Russ and KD back for the first time in a long time to do how we started doing this thing. 5 things and around the herd, and I got to tell you, it feels pretty good to, even though I've had a lot of fun recording with Jed, and we miss him this week, but it felt only so proper to be back together on this anniversary. And if you're listening already, you're seeing a little bit of you're hearing a little bit of a refresh. If you're watching, you're seeing a little bit of a refresh. Russ, let's talk about a little bit of that before we get into anything else.
Yeah. Real quick. Both of us were a huge fan of that old song that we had for 4 years. Reluctantly, we switched it. And the reason why is even though we paid for it, it still gets flagged on some things. And we just couldn't risk having videos taken down and things like that, or it cutting out the audio of the entire show just for the 30-second intro. So we decided on this. A lot of thought went into it. And I like the new song too. You can be a fan of both. We just want to play this one and not get not risk it not playing on social media shares or getting taken down or anything like that, even though we paid to license it 4 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, the original intro is just so perfect for what we were, and it became synonymous. I remember very early on in the life cycle of this show, someone mentioned that the initial hit of the intro put them in a good mood because they knew they were about to listen to the herd, to listen to some stuff about the herd, which was pretty cool. Yeah. And I thought, man, I never really thought about it that way, but that's really cool. And you're right. Reluctantly, we decided to make a change, but I really like this one too. And, a little bit of a refresh and rebrand, upscale a little bit, getting rid of we'd moved away from a lot of the busyness as it is, but now it's kind of official. Tightening up the look and I like it, man. I really like it.
Yeah, and it's just synchronizing across all brands too. If anyone noticed today, the Twitter banner got changed with the new logo font that we have here, the YouTube banner, the cover page or the cover photo on Facebook. It's all the same with this new font. And later we'll talk about all this in a short little feature at the end of the show. But we wanted to tighten everything up. We wanted to have a polished look, a polished sound, and I think that we got our work cut out for us. But we're going to make you, the listener, you, the viewer, hear this new song and think about, hey, this is a good time. We're getting ready to hear some stuff about the herd.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff, of course, is for us and just to re-energize, refresh, new energies. But it's also always about the listener experience and the interaction and what you're watching. And you're spending a couple hours a week sometimes watching our videos, listening to our shows, and we want that to be time well spent. So you guys deserve the very best we can give you, and a tighter, cleaner look was on the agenda for a while, and it just didn't feel like the right time until it was anniversary time, and now here we are. So very appreciative of all of our sponsors and everybody that listens for continuing allowing us to do the thing that we love to do, which is talk about the herd.
That's right.
Now into that, you can, of course, follow us on Twitter at ThunderCast_pod. Listen to the show anywhere you like to listen to your favorite podcast. And if you're watching us, you've already found us on the ThunderCast YouTube channel. But if you've done all those things, please take a second, make sure that you're following the shows, you're subscribed to the shows, you're sharing the links, and all those good things, man. We really appreciate it. Give us the thumbs up on the episodes. Hype the show from time to time. That's a feature on YouTube that you can do from time to time. Hype the episode. All those things help the algorithm, which help us reach more herd fans. And that's obviously what it's all about. The more people we reach, the more we can do for you guys and the more fun we can just have in general. Russ, we cannot deviate too far from the schedule, of course, because we have 5 things at least. I don't know how many things to talk about. We're going to go around the herd. But first, we have to get a big, big, important word from our sponsors at Leasure Oliver PLLC.
If you've been hurt in a wreck, call the law firm of Leasure Oliver PLLC. Find them at 304carwreck.com.
Russ, it was a mixed bag across herd athletics, especially when we're talking about around the herd. Some big games were on the docket. The herd came out on top on some and on the underside on others. But right now, I want you to give me at least 5 things every herd fan needs to know this week.
And now, here are at least 5 things every herd fan needs to know. And now, here are at least 5 things every herd fan needs to know this week. As always, brought to you by ignite.link, the Tri-State's premier IT management team.
I never had that happen before, but I hit it and it said the browser does not want to play this. So I had to play one of the others. And that's why we have multiple different ones for our sponsors. And we just roll with it here on this show.
Yeah.
I do have a true 5 things for us this week, and we're going to start off with one that I know you want to talk about. And this is a lot more personal for you than it is for me, and everyone will understand as soon as I start reading it. Number 1, the Moonshine Throwdown is back. Marshall and Western Kentucky sign a home-and-home series in football. We will be at WKU on September 13th, 2031. And they come to the Joan on September 18th, 2032.
Yeah, you had me there for a second. I'm like, what the hell are you about to talk about that is personal to me? I don't know why that escaped my mind, but
if you would have mentioned that to me, I would have just assumed you were going to talk about banana pudding. So,
I had no idea where you were going with that. But this is obviously something that's close to me, and followers of our show, listeners, longtime listeners of our show, know that before the ThunderCast was a thing, when Marshall and Western Kentucky were still in the Conference USA together, I ran that account. I ran the Moonshine Throwdown account. I hosted the Moonshine Throwdown podcast along with Stephen Moffat, who is the host of the Topper Talk podcast. And of course, our buddy Trace Johnson repped the Marshall side of things on the Moonshine Throwdown podcast. So this was something that not just I'm excited about, not just Stephen and Trace are excited about. There were a lot of fans that wanted this game on the schedule. And I know there are a lot of fans out there that claim they don't care, that they don't think about Western. And I get that. But by saying things like that tells me that it does matter to you, because you cannot deny that there were big games between these two teams that meant something across multiple sports. But having the football series back, I think, is a game that both fan bases can get excited about and will be excited about, even though you're talking about something that's 6 years away, 5-6 years away. This is the kind of the series that I like. I mean, we've talked how many times about Middle Tennessee doesn't move the needle for you. XYZ team doesn't move the needle for you. This is one that moves the needle for me a little bit. And I don't think I've ever fully gotten over the game in 2014. I don't think I ever will.
Right.
Ruining the perfect season by the herd and losing by just a point in that epic game that kick-started the whole thing. That's the one that started it all for me. And I'm happy to get this one back on the schedule, even if it is just for 2 games in 5 to 6 years from now.
It's 2 right now, and we'll see. There's a lot of time between now and then. Maybe some more gets worked out. Kind of hope so, because it's a very drivable game. For both fan bases. So it's one of those games where, no offense to our friends at Middle Tennessee, and we don't have many of them there, but they are not competitive year after year, but WKU is always competitive. And that's one of the things you like to see, a competitive team that should be a good ball game that will bring a lot of fans, and there's some history. So, it's a no-brainer. I'm glad Gerald Harrison got to do this. I'm going to give you the floor again before I move on, because I don't want to cut you short on this, because I know you got a lot of thoughts about this with the history that you have with that podcast and that team. You covered that team for a long time while you were doing both with the podcast.
Yeah, it was a very I had the unique view, right? Nobody else was. I'm the one that had to look at things like from a neutral standpoint. And that was really hard to do because I really, really, really wanted to hate Western Kentucky as a Marshall fan. But I just gained a lot of respect for their program. They're really a peer institution to Marshall from an athletic standpoint. Our budgets are roughly the same. We both remain pretty competitive year in and year out. It's just that, like, we've been able to raise that conference championship trophy a couple of times, and it's been a while for them. They've been on the cusp a couple of times and haven't been able to do it in a while. When these games were hot and heavy, 14. Of course, we won the Conference USA title 15-16. I think they won the Conference USA title. But that game decided who would represent the East in the conference championship game. That's why these were more than just a game on the schedule. They meant something. But I started to gain a lot of respect for their program. They got some of the nicest fans out there that I've come across. I mean, it's hard to get close to herd fans when it comes to hospitality, but man, they get really, really damn close. And you're right. It's a drivable game. You're talking about 5 hours away from Huntington to Bowling Green. It's a really cool setup. There's plenty of tailgating. It's a great drivable, fun game, and I hope a lot of fans will make the trip. I hope a lot of fans from Bowling Green will make the trip to Huntington when it's time to come to the Joan. But I'm not going to spend 10, 15 minutes talking about this game. I'm excited about it. I know there are a lot of fans on both sides of this game that are excited about it, and it's just one, obviously, for a certain generation of student, this is their rival. Marshall looks at Ohio, and that's a rival for a lot of fans. This is a certain section of the fan base, a certain age group. That's their rival. It's Western Kentucky. So it matters.
Yeah, overwhelmingly positive reaction on social media to this. And that's always good to see because, it's always going to be a mixed bag. You're not going to please 100% of the people when you do an announcement like this. Oh, why couldn't it be Ohio State coming here? Things like that. But it's been a very positive reaction to this. So.
Yeah, before you move to number 2, I hope this is also the thing that starts to bleed over in other sports. I would like to see the basketball game get on the schedule, women's basketball get on the schedule, maybe a baseball midweek or something, softball midweek. Both of those softball teams are really, really good. That would make for a really, really good midweek game. So just something to think about. Mr. Todd Stewart and Big G, get those AD minds together, put more games on more schedules for more sports.
You mentioned softball, and that's my number 2. Softball is up to 6th now in the Softball America Mid-Major Top 25 and 8th in the D1 softball version of that same poll.
Can we say underrated? Because this team is good, man. They are really good. And they were one of the biggest movers week over week from last week to this week. And I don't see that really going in the opposite direction. They went down to Texas State and captured a series on the road for the second time after losing the opener. This team has guts and grit, man, and it travels. They're really just a really good team. I think we're a couple of weeks away. If a few more series go their way, you might be looking at a top 3 herd in these polls.
Yeah, and Texas State, how would you have loved to have swept them down there? But winning a series on the road in the conference is good. And Texas State historically has a good softball program. They've won 22 games now. I think they picked up a win in their midweek or something to get them up to 22. But they were a 20-game winner when we went down there. So no slouch whatsoever. Number 3. Just when you thought, I don't know if I can get through this without laughing, but just when you thought the Marshall men's triple jump record was safe after 3 people beat it last week. 3 people beat it last week. Well, it got beat again. It got beaten twice. So second time in a row, second week in a row that it's been bested more than once, and it was 2 of the same people.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So this week, 2 of them broke it again. Formerly second, O.T. Omat is now the leader as he triple jumped over Trayshawn Smith, and so did former third all-time Cam Hamby. Get this, the record books now stand at Omat at 15.45 meters, Hamby at 15.44 meters, and Smith, the freshman, at 15.43 meters. And let me put this in perspective for you on how close that is. That is more than 50.5 feet in that range there. And the 3 of them are separated by less than 1 inch.
Right.
At 50.5 feet. I mean, you just imagine saying, hey, go there 50.5 feet away, and with a tape measure, you're going to be real close to all 3. That's how close they are grouped together. And you just know that this record's going to fall again, and that they're going to be just like cyclists that move away from the pack, man, they are going to be pushing each other. And they are by far and away leading the Sun Belt, all 3 of them. But the 3 of them are grouped tightly together, and you just love to see that.
I think maybe, first of all, I was quick to acknowledge that because I thought, man, what I tweeted was, we just recorded the show yesterday,
Yeah.
Like couldn't even give us 24 hours to, have accurate information before the record is broken and rebroken yet again. But dude, I don't care. This is steady content for the show. This is steady stuff we get to talk about with track and field and what this program continues to do. I got on my soapbox a little bit either last week or the week before last, talking about how it's so easy to be a fan of herd track and field.
Mm-hmm.
But I think maybe the funniest thing is the fact that this record stood since 1996, and then now in 2 weeks you went from record holder to 6th place.
Yeah,
that's wild to me. 2 weeks ago or a week ago, we talked about, like, I don't think in the life span of this show, we had talked about a record getting broken and rebroken 3 times in the same weekend, especially by 3 athletes. Now it's 5 times in 2 meets by 3 different athletes. This is uncharted waters. I have to. I mean, we can get Steve Cotton to chime in on that, but I feel like this is uncharted waters for records being broken and rebroken.
Yeah, and again, they have a meet coming up that we're going to be talking about in Around the Herd. It would not surprise me to see either Omat break his own record or one of the other 2 leapfrog or triple jump, as I said, back over top of Omat. And this may be flip-flopping back and forth as they increase it. I mean, you're talking about a 100th of a meter right now, and what is that? Is it a millimeter? You're much better at that old
centimeter?
book learn, all that book learning that I am. But yeah, it's probably a centimeter. All right, so number 4, we've been talking about some good, positive, fun stuff. Here's a letdown. Landon Dunk Joseph, the freshman for Marshall basketball, intends to enter the transfer portal for men's basketball. It hit social media, and I was hoping it was the April Fool's joke. It was the wrong day to post it, but it looks like there is a lot of fire to that smoke, or smoke to that fire, whichever way you look at it.
Yeah, because it was nationally reported. That's why you really don't.
And he was tagged. It's official.
Yeah. So I think a lot of Marshall basketball fans were probably holding their breath on this one for a while, and it had been so long since, well, not so long, but long enough after the end of the season. I think a lot of folks expected announcements like that to happen like within a day or 2 of the season ending, right? But dominoes have to fall, things have to happen, whatever. This is the double-edged sword of a non-legislation era of transferring and NIL. But This one sucks because I think he was going to be a big piece of what Corny Jackson obviously was building in Huntington, a youngster who performed really, really well. So now you just got to go find the next piece to your puzzle, because there will be pieces that can help win games for Corny and Herd out there and available. He's found them every year. You just would like to think that if you are a coach that finds a guy that maybe wasn't as super heavily recruited as you thought. I mean, you can't, I know there's a certain part of you that's like, I can do this on a larger level. I know I can, and I'm betting on myself, and I get that. I really do. But this is where I would like to see things like a 2-year contract or a 2-year, guarantee come into play. So you recruited a guy, you should be able to develop him for a year and at least get the benefit of that initial development to help your team the next year. But right now we live in a world where it's a free market and it's open game, and you can't fault these kids for taking the money. It might not, or I don't even know if there's any money involved. Maybe he just wants to move on. But on the whole perspective, you can't fault these kids for chasing the money because it might not be there 6 months from now. Legislation could pass tomorrow and dry it all up. Who knows what's going to happen? But this one sucks. He would have been a big piece of next season's Herd for sure.
Yeah, and I was looking forward to maybe keeping him here 4 years and what he could have done, but it is what it is. We'll have more on that when it's official, because transfer portal is not open right now. That's why it says he announced his intentions to enter. And again, we've had it happen before. He could always not do it, or he could do it and pull his name back out, So we'll see. But we wanted to go ahead and put that in there because it is news. Number 5, the 2026 spring game is rapidly approaching. $8. These are tickets with the fees. And here's what I'm getting ready to tell you. $8 gets you a general admission ticket. $53 is a pass to the Dutch Miller deck with food and drinks provided. Parking is $22. Now that is $5, $50, and $20 without those fees. So if you want to save a little bit, you know what to do. Go over there. Even day of, you can get parking without the fees if you pay at the gate $20 as you pull your vehicle in. So $20 and $5 get you a parking spot that you can share with other people and a ticket to the game. It doesn't get any better than that. Want to tell real quick about our tailgate, then I'm going to turn it over to you. I've been coordinating the tailgate with friend of the ThunderCast, Chris Lewis, going to be bringing his smoker down. We're going to have all that good stuff that we always do have. He and I have even been talking about the fine details of taking it to the next level. And if we're already at the level that he's operating at, look out. And I have to say, tailgate is free, thanks to our friends at Landscaping by Hillcrest. And if you guys have not thanked them for all the free tailgates that they've given us over the years, this is, I believe, the third straight, maybe fourth straight spring game that they've done. And we have also had now 2 full seasons of tailgates that they've done. So thank them. Go to their social medias and thank them. More than that, share their stuff. Use their stuff. When you need premier landscaping done to transform your yard, make sure you're thanking them, because they're Herd fans. You'll see him at the tailgate. You'll see him at all the tailgates. Tom with Landscaping by Hillcrest. We can't thank those guys enough for what we're about to throw down at the tailgate.
Yeah, I touched on this a little bit at the end of last week's episode. We talked about ticket prices. We talked about fees and availability and all that kind of stuff. And I said, get some buddies together, chip in on a spot. It doesn't really matter. We're tailgating. You can come and hang with us and eat our food. We hope that you do, actually. So for, 4 buddies together, you're talking what, $10 a piece? Something like that. You get a ticket and a tailgate and having a good old time. And I mean, get you a couple of spots and spread up, post up. We'll have a good time. Like, I hope everybody that's listening to this show that is also planning to go to the spring game will find us in our area, wherever we are, wherever we end up.
Not going to miss us.
And kind of get a spot adjacent, so that we can kind of maybe box off a nice big area and just have a really nice little West Lot party right out there, because that's what it's all about. We look forward to this every single year as the kickoff to our season as well. And if you've never been to a spring game, maybe this is the year you should finally just go, you know what? I'm going to go. It's $5. Hell with it. Get a ticket, go in. You don't have to bring anything. Bring whatever you need to drink. We will take care of the food for you. We're going to have a great time. We have not had a bad time at a spring game yet. They've gotten better and better and better. And this year it's going to be more of the same. And I don't know about this next level, so I'm going to be learning about this next level as you all are as well. It's going to be a great time, though.
I hope I don't disappoint, but we're just talking about the presentation, kicking it up a notch and everything, and I think it'll be noticeable to everybody on just how it is. I think that it's the best tailgate around. What did our friend Austin say? Best tailgate in college football?
Maybe, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what he said.
Definitely the closest one to the stadium in college football.
Katie, that does it for this week. 5 things every Herd fan needs to know this week, as always, brought to you by our friends at Ignite.link.
Well, it was a great 5 things. This was, I tell you what, these last few weeks have really gotten me back into the swing of just the normal conversation. It's found out of something I've missed. Jed asked me, do you miss doing these shows? And sometimes I do, because it gives me the opportunity to kind of relax and chill and just talk herd. And at the very beginning, that's what this show was all about, just being able to talk herd. And it's really fun being able to do that these past 3 to 4 weeks, however many it's been.
Well, let's take it around the herd before we talk about our 4-year anniversary.
Let's do it.
And now, Layer 1 Solutions, your experts in business connectivity infrastructure, takes you around the herd.
All right, we're going to start off with track and field. We already talked in 5 things about Trayshawn Smith, Cam Hamby, and OTO Mott, who are just far and away above everybody and the records that were broken. But on top of those men's triple jump records, there were lots of personal bests, lots of top 5 all-time things. Markayla Moore continues to just stamp her name all over anything to do with the throws, and there's a lot more on there. Grady and Graham had the best hammer throw since the men came back in 2023, so he's moving right on up there too. You can read all this over on Herd Zone. I don't want to go through every single personal best because there was a lot of them. I don't want to go through every top 5 adding them to the top 5 of the list because there's a lot of them. Just know that the recruits that we have coming in are doing a lot. There was a lot of competition down here at this NC State meet, and we came out with wins, and we came out with top 5s and all kinds of things. So, personal bests and top 5s. It was just a really, really strong effort by everybody.
Yeah, well, we talked about this last week too. It seems like these field athletes have, as a group, have kicked it up a huge notch. These throws, these jumps, these type of things have been elevated. Man, this is really an indictment of what this program has become over the last, let's call it 2 years. The recruiting has kicked up a huge notch, and you're already seeing it play out literally on the field. The record book is getting rewritten on a weekly basis. And, I was talking with Jed last week, and I was like, we don't know how the careers of some of these athletes will end at Marshall, but boy, they are off to a strong start. And I mentioned that, like, you and I for years talked about Abby Herring. And it was like, not that she's a joke, but it was a running joke that she.
It was a running joke.
How many records did she break this week? And
she owned the record and kept breaking the record for breaking records.
That's
awesome. What we kept talking about. At one time, I remember this number, and I think it got moved on, but 26 different records, and one of them was the most records,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, we keep saying these same few names right now, but every couple of weeks you sprinkle in another name and another name. And the next thing you know, you're talking about 8 athletes, 9, 10 athletes that are owning program records and that are also ranking really high at that in this particular season within the Sun Belt. So the trajectory of track and field as a whole, not just men's side, women's side, but as a whole, off the charts since Roberts came along and became director of track and field.
All right, we're going to hold serve and go over to tennis. I know you like that one. We swept James Madison 4-0 on Friday, and then took ODU, who is the cream of the crop of the conference and has been for since we joined the Sun Belt Conference. They've been the premier team. We took them to the wire, losing 4-3. I want to tell you about that real quick. We lost the doubles point as ODU had 6-4 and 6-4 victories, while the unfinished doubles that didn't get finished, it was tied 5-5. So we were right there. A ball goes a little bit this way or that way, we win the doubles point, and then you're looking at a totally different thing. But beyond that, we lost it. We move on to singles. Marshall was leading in singles, and the last 2 matches went into third sets, with one going to tiebreakers. That is how close we were against the team that, remember, we finished runner-up to last year in the conference, in the postseason. That close to getting the edge over ODU.
Yeah, the very definition of the mixed bag, like I was talking about with Herd Athletics, because for a number of years it's been the Marshall, James Madison, Old Dominion trio vying for conference supremacy in women's tennis, and Old Dominion generally comes out of the pack, right? They routinely have individual players ranked highly in the country, and to know that you're right there, like sweeping James Madison was wild to me right out of the gate. And I thought, all right, they're kind of dialed in this weekend. And you go tooth and nail with Old Dominion, that's a different animal, and you still go tooth and nail with Old Dominion, right? So that tells me that we can play. I know we can play, but we can play with them. So come conference tournament time, I think there's going to be maybe some newfound, or not newfound, but maybe another level of confidence going into that match, because, like you said, doubles didn't get finished. You had a couple of singles matches go into the third set. One goes to a tiebreaker, so you're like right there. You're right there. You got to love what Herd Tennis has done, and probably will continue to do. It would surprise me if they lose too many more matches, if any, for the remainder of the season, because the season's not that long. There's only maybe 2 or 3 more matches, and then it's conference tournament time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was the usual names too, putting up the performances. But again, some other names. You can find all this over on Herd Zone on those 2 different matches against James Madison and ODU. But again, so close. I urge you to go look at that box score from Sunday and just see. It'll show you at the very bottom the order of finish. So it shows you they had to win the last 2 to win. We win one of those. And again, they both went to third sets, and one of those was in tiebreakers that they had to win for that to happen after we had given them the doubles point. So really, really strong effort. Men's golf, we finished 7 out of 13 at the Mobile Bay Intercollegiate that wrapped up today. Marshall was led by J.F. Aber at 2 under. He had rounds of 1 over, 4 under, and 1 over. Really, really strong second round when Marshall as a whole struggled. More on that in just 1 second. And Joseph Kolaski was right behind him. He finished at 1 under, so both under par for the tournament. Kolaski was 1 under on rounds 1 and 3. I'm sorry, 5 under on round 1. Really, really, really strong. But his and 1 under on his third round, but his second round he was 5 over. So if he has a better second round, he's moving way up the leaderboard there, but really, really strong to have 2 under par for the tournament. And they really helped Marshall move up and finish in that 7th slot.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I'll take 7 out of 13, right? When you struggle as a team and then you still end up middle of the pack, that tells me you got some good golf ahead of you, and more guys put together some quality shots. And it's hilarious to me that I sit here and talk about any type of being good at golf at anything, because I'm horrible at golf, but it's also why I don't try to play golf. But I'm saying,
really good at putt though.
Yeah,
really
well,
good.
I'm not even good at that. Now my son, man, he'll take you out behind the woodshed and wear your ass out in some putt. But me, old dad, ain't it. I never have been good at putt. But anyway,
yeah, just want to say that middle round, that second round, Marshall was 20 over as a team, and you're looking at Faber was, or I'm sorry, JF Aber was 4 under, and I don't know. We just struggled in that round. Otherwise, we would have moved up. And if as went Kolaski, he would have moved up as well. They will be competing at the Golf Week event that starts on Monday. Women's golf finished 4th out of 10th at the Colonel Classic over in Richmond. And Olivia Cochan, who was 5th overall, Madison Borders tied for 9th, were both in the top 10. So really strong individual performances by 2 golfers in the men and 2 golfers in the women, and middle of the pack. But with the women above middle, they're top middle right there. They will also be competing at Golf Week, also starting on Monday.
Cool, man.
Men's soccer, you saw this. They beat Louisville, blanked them 1-0 in the College Spring League at home on Saturday. Got 3 points for the standings. And that makes 2 games in the College Spring League and 2 clean sheets. So we're dominating. That's good to see. A lot of new faces, and you never know how that's going to mesh. So far, we're doing pretty good. We take on, this will be on the road, Michigan State Saturday at 3:30.
Cool. Yeah, man. Even though 1-0 game is not very indicative of what you're used to seeing from the herd. Those are the kind of matches that give me even more confidence as a fan, because that tells me, like, okay, we don't have to go in and rely on scoring 3, 4, 5 goals and just blowing somebody out of the water. Like, when it gets tight, when games are tight, most soccer matches are tight, right? Let's face it. They're not blowouts. Then that tells me you kind of got the moxie to stay within the moment and stay focused and not, get too out of sorts, so to speak, and let something slip through. And we've seen that in the past. We've seen heartbreakers in the past. A momentary lapse leads to a goal that is the go-ahead or the match-winning goal. And we didn't see that against Louisville. It was a 1-0 tight match, but still, with a lot of new faces settling into their roles and responsibilities, it's nice to see those type of games early, especially when they don't matter on the schedule when you're playing for a championship. This is kind of the spring. That's a big benefit to the spring league to me. It's like you start to find out who you are quicker, because you're just not playing against each other. You're playing against other competition at full game speed, and you get to figure out who you are a little quicker. That's why I think this is a big benefit to herd men's soccer to continually be a part of the spring league.
Women's soccer will be hosting West Virginia State at Friday at 7 p.m. So you get a chance to go watch some women's soccer this spring. Get out there, support them. Hope to have a good crowd out there, because those ladies are doing exactly what the men are doing. They're meshing the new team, and we saw them take some huge leaps the last few years. A lot of the stuff that they were doing in the off season. So looking forward to seeing how they do against West Virginia State. I think I said it's Friday at 7. If I said Saturday, I meant Friday. All right. Baseball, they put up a hell of a fight but they got swept by number 15 at the time, Coastal Carolina at the Jack. Scores of 11-9. That one was back and forth. 12-4. We were up 4-0 on that, and then pitching just gave out on us. We lost 12-4, and then the tightest one of all, 5-4, on Sunday. But then we lost to Ohio at home on Tuesday, 5-3. So couple that with the last Tuesday game against WVU, and we were 0-5 on the latest homestand. Any thoughts on any of that before we hop over to what they have coming up this week?
Yeah, I don't really get too caught up in midweeks, right? I mean, they're great to win, but I mentioned this. To me, those are, you want to win them, of course, because it helps your record, but that's about staying loose and getting reps and getting ready for the important weekend series. The weekend series, though, Coastal Carolina and Southern Miss are the measuring sticks in the Sun Belt Conference. We all know that by now. And Jed had just mentioned last week that coming in, Coastal Carolina was just off of mercy ruling James Madison in the entire series. So I thought, okay,
all 3 games.
Yeah. Okay, what is going to happen here?
And they beat Clemson,
right? But I'm midweek stuff. I know it's a big game, right? It's different level of baseball, but I'm thinking, all right, what is getting ready to come into Jack Cook Field? And yes, the Herd gets swept, but man, they put up gutsy performances and they showed they can go toe to toe with teams like this. So that even in a loss, I feel like that you're gonna be able to pull as much positive as you can out of getting swept at home by a top 15 team, because you did not go out and get your ass handed to you in any one game. Like Saturday, it was a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever it was. Game 2 of the series was the one that got away from you the most, but the other 2 games were there for the taking. They were there. Another swing here, another play there, and you might be sneaking out of there with one. And across, some Sun Belt circles, many people picked Marshall to at least pick up one game. So that tells me that the Herd is starting to gain some more respect within Sun Belt circles. So even though you go down, your losses are losses. I get it. I'm not an apologist. I'm not a sympathizer, right? You want to win the freaking games, but you didn't go in and get your ass beat. You just didn't get embarrassed at home. Like these are gut check games, and they answered the call. They just fell a little short in 2 of the 3.
Yeah, and I think that we picked up some respect on how we played that series as well, even in losing 3. Again, there are no moral victories on the scoreboard or the standings, but I think that a lot of respect was given that said, hey, they played Coastal a lot better than a lot of teams have,
That's right.
And you can see Coastal, I mean, they had to get up for these games, that we were leading, and we took their best punches and with a horrible half inning of them just going explosive, and we came back and said, we're not scared, we're just going to punch you right back in the mouth. So love to see the effort. Just really would have liked to have seen at least one game against the top 15 team in the country, but I think better baseball's ahead for Marshall. Softball, to go to the other diamond sport, we already talked about it. They lost the series opener at Texas State 6-1, bounced back to back 2-1 victories, gives them the series. I'm sorry. Let me finish this, then I'll bounce back to baseball. I forgot to give this week's schedule. Softball is going to be hosting App State at the Dot Thursday at 6, Friday at 5, and Saturday at noon. So you got plenty of time to get out there and watch them. And then the Tuesday game of next week, Pitt is coming to town at 4 p.m. Any thoughts on softball before I bounce back over to baseball?
Yeah, one note that you didn't discuss and may have slipped through the cracks on you. Sid Burko named one of the top third basemen in the country this week, maybe a top 15 third baseman. I can't remember what the graphic said, but this is now the second player, right? Before it was Paige Maynard not named one of the top pitchers in D1 softball. Now Sid Burko playing the hot corner, named as one of the top third basemen. what Coach Zirkle and this coaching staff have assembled here is nothing short of phenomenal, because I talk about this every week because it is continually surprising to me, especially in this day and age across other sports where your top talent tends to transfer. And we didn't see too much of that.
Right.
Not a whole lot of that. The top
No,
talent kind of
we saw some girls come home,
right,
Burko included.
And that's what I mean. Like that was my point, is we were getting the opposite of that. We're starting to recruit top talent that has been successful in other places to Huntington. And what comes to mind that we're seeing now in the second year is in the circle. Jules King was good last year, really good this year, right? And we're seeing some of those homegrown kids that are just sending the ball out of the yard like crazy. Diamond Leslie is never short on excitement. So this is just a really fun team to watch. And when they're at the dot, you need to get your ass out there and at least catch one game. I mean, for crying out loud, you're talking about a top 10 softball team right now. They are probably the number one team in the Sun Belt. Power rankings, whatever does it for you. They're got to be considered the top 1 or 2 team in this conference right now. And that's saying something. We've been really close before. And again, we can't call them a championship team because they haven't won a damn championship yet. But if they continue doing this, it's going to be really hard to beat them. This team's built a little bit different to go on a tournament run, to where pitching might not have to get overworked like we've seen in the past. There's plenty of players that can pick up the slack if somebody is having a down game. You don't have to rely on 2 or 3 players to be your entire offensive output. This team's built just a little bit different. They're a hell of a lot deeper than they were. They deserve a packed house at a minimum. They deserve a packed house to get out there and watch them play. I don't care who they're playing. You go watch these girls play because they are good and they are fun to watch.
Absolutely. And the pitching depth in the circle is just head and shoulders over what it was last year. I think that was one of the Achilles heels of the team last year. They could score. They could score on people a bunch, but now you've got some people that can score, and in these tight 2-1 ball games, that the pitching in the circle is going to be on point. Bouncing back over, I forgot to say the weekly schedule for baseball. So they're going to be at App State Thursday through Saturday at 6 p.m., 6 p.m. Friday, 1 p.m. Saturday, and then they travel to Morgantown, WVU, on the road for next Tuesday.
Got to get some wins, man, because Morgantown's not going to be an easy place to play, especially if you're the Herd.
Yeah.
You got to go into Boone and kind of make some noise, get things rolling the right way. Let's get some more in the left-hand column, right the ship a little bit. We need to start stacking wins, because now you're going to start worrying about seeding for a conference tournament. You got to win them where you can. Right? Can't really let anything slip away. If a game is there to be won, it needs to be won. But I still cannot undersell the job that Greg Beals has done in the short amount of time he's been here. I mean, look at all these guys that are performing so well. Pieces he had to replace that were uber important last year. And we seem to be better in certain positions. I mean, even for example, I don't think it's out of pocket to say Havrilla is a better player this year than he was last year, even though he's playing the same position. That position is better this year. So you got youngsters that are performing well, pitching that's pretty deep. I mean, even behind the plate, you were breaking in something new, and you got 2 guys that are, well, this is a bad pun, but more than serviceable, right? These are good players behind the plate. I feel good about what Beals is doing. It's just a matter of consistency and kind of getting it all to come together all the time. But the wild card through it all is college baseball is freaking weird, man. It's just weird. Teams can teams can catch fire like I've never seen teams catch fire before.
many big batters during this weekend series, but Coop Henson came up clutch time after time. Oliver Service came up clutch time after time. Have really hit an absolute missile, and the one of a couple that he hit, but. Batone continues to have an amazing year, and he's a newcomer that we brought in. Just really good top to bottom. All right, we're going to finish up with women's basketball. They destroyed Youngstown State on the road, 72-46. That advanced them to the quarterfinals of the WNIT. And then they had that amazing come-from-behind performance at home in the semifinals to beat Army, 82-65. They trailed the pretty much majority of the game through the first three quarters. I think it was the entire game. And they were down 65-59. So they scored the last 2 points of the third quarter, and then 65-61 going into the fourth. We drop into a matchup 1-3-1 zone. Jolie Folks said, hey, let's do this. This is what's going to do it for us. Held them scoreless. A WNIT team held them scoreless in the fourth quarter. We finished with the last 23 points to win 82-65. That puts us in the Fab Four, and that's in an hour and 15 minutes as we're recording right now. So you'll be listening to this after the game is over. You'll be listening to this on Thursday, but or watching this. But yeah, we're in the Fab Four. We're playing Arkansas State at Arkansas State, and we really want to see a victory in that, put us in the championship.
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, they took hold of that game at Youngstown late, and just ran them the hell out of the gym in front of a big crowd. I mean, that had to be demoralizing to the Penguins. And I'm not trying to rub it in, but man, that was an impressive late game performance by the Herd. They really freaking flipped the switch and turned it on. And then you talk about really flipping the switch. Holy hell. Against Army, you come in and shut them out in the fourth quarter at home in the Cam in 2,200 plus fans. Like, that makes you feel good, man. You know, they got one more at the Cam, and then they were able to win that. And then they got one more at the Cam, and these senior girls are potentially going to go out at their last game at the Cam Henderson Center saying, we didn't give up a point in the fourth quarter in the postseason. That's how you end your career at home. That is a cool feather in your cap. That's a cool feather.
So if they win tonight, I'd have it on the most impeccable of sources that we are putting forth the biggest bid possible that we can to host that championship game. There's a lot of chatter online. We saw early some knee-jerk reactions before people knew the story or whatever. It was like, why didn't we bid that game and everything? Well, we did, or we attempted to, and we wanted to. And I can promise you a lot of people watching and listening to this helped contribute to that bid. And before we hit record here, I haven't even told you, but the ThunderCast has already put their name in the ring to help contribute for this potential bid on Saturday for the finals. We're proud of that. I'm proud of it as a fan. KD's proud of it as a fan, and you all should be. So just know that your team is really doing it. Gerald Harrison, the Big Green, the athletic department, Herd Hospitality, everybody is doing what they can. And I just want to clear the air on that. You know, I try not to call people out on everything on social media that you see, but there are a lot of knee-jerk reactions before the stories out there. And our crew has done a really good job. And we've hosted 2 WNIT games, man. 2 of them got away from us. Things are going to happen. Things are out of your control. But I do know that they are putting together everything that they can for that championship game should we win tonight. And I like our chances there against a really, really good Arkansas State team.
Yeah, this is a good Arkansas State team, but we got the regular season matchup. It was in Huntington, so different vibe now. And this is a bigger prize, obviously, because, you know, this is supremacy for a postseason tournament championship potentially. I mean, this team is obviously a good team. Both teams are really good teams. You don't get to this point by not being a good team. You can't rely on what happened in earlier in the season as any type of indicator of what this one will be. But what you can rely on, I feel like, is what you've been seeing over the course of the last week or so. You know, you've been seeing a really high level of basketball and a really, really high close it out clutch gene to like go get the win. That killer instinct really kicking in when they smell a little blood. Boy, they're going after it and closing out a game. And that's what you want right now. So, so one other note on this one is I saw that somebody mentioned somewhere, and I hate to phrase it that way because it could be inaccurate, but I saw, so I'm going to say it, that with the win at home over Army, that now ties the single season record for wins
from 2024. Yeah.
So no matter what happens, Julie Falks this year will set atop the record book with Kim Caldwell as the winningest single season coach in history. She has the potential to not only break that record tonight, but added 2 games to it. So a lot riding on this one just for a team concept, for a program concept, for a coach concept. There's a lot on the line for this one. Not to mention that it's against a conference foe, and you got some bragging rights that go along with that. I mean, this is a big game for Herd women's basketball. One of the biggest outside of that NCAA tournament game that I can remember in a really, really long time.
Well, so foreshadowing, I held this out of 5 things because it's going to be on next week, but also the senior class with 2 homegrown West Virginia talents in Elderton and Mayer are the winningest 4-year squad ever at Marshall. So any consecutive 4 years, the ones that are here right now, these seniors, which includes those 2, they're the winningest. And hopefully adding to that tonight, hopefully adding to that Saturday. That's why I held it out for next week, because they still hold the record, but we're going to see exactly what that record is after these final 2 games of the WNIT.
So let's drive this point home, because this is a great moment to talk about this. These are players that could have transferred out at any moment. They played for 3 head coaches, 3 different head coaches, and they could have transferred out. Mayer was actually in the portal at one point and said, no, you know what? I'm going to come back and I'm going to play.
Yeah.
So in an era where athletes take that road and leave, sometimes at the first sight of change, at the first sight of adversity, at the first sight of whatever you want to call it, these girls stayed. And they are now the winningest senior class in Marshall women's basketball history. They did it across 3 coaches, and they just stuck with the program. That's campus legend type shit right there. We talk about that as it relates to football a lot, you know, guys that don't transfer and just play, and you know, they could be all conference players and all that stuff too, but they stay all 4 years or 5 years, and we call them campus legends. Peyton Ilderton, Meredith Mayer, they're campus legends. And they deserve to be talked about as campus legends because they stayed and played and won games and won a championship and went to an NCAA tournament, and now they're in the WNIT and they're on the verge of playing for a championship there. These 2 girls in particular are campus legends. 304 campus legends. Logan County. I don't know where Mayer's from right off the top of my head.
Fairmont, Marion County.
Okay, Marion County and Logan County. How about that? Yeah. Props to them for sticking it out and becoming legends with the Herd.
Yeah. KD, that does it. Thanks to our friends at Layer 1 Solutions for taking us around the Herd. And before we get out of here, I want to take just 2-3 minutes because, you know, I got to go. But we want to talk about, again, this is our 4-year anniversary. And you've seen some of the slick stuff, not all of the logos that we have. But the one down there, if you're watching on YouTube, the overlay that's on the screen right now with the new font and everything, and we have that. I'm going to show just real quick. We chose that one the way it would show up, but we have it in black, we have it in green, we have it in white. We'll switch back and forth all over the different screens for the different layouts that we have. And I just wanted to give thanks to a friend of ours from We first met him in August of 1997. And I'm going to go over, he's in one of his many talents, he was a graphic artist at one point. So he helped us out freshen up and polish up our logos for that brand cohesion that we have. And I'm going to take you over to his website right now, which is a little bit different than graphic design. But Dennis Hicks owns Black Star Soaps, BLAQ, Black Star Soaps. And I even left up this little thing here. Put a little boom in your cart, buy any 6 bars of soap, get a free boombox gift box, and Adler wood soap dish. 12% savings. Promotion ends April 30th, 2026. But just wanted to show you a little bit here. He has a lot of different skincare products, and you'll notice these look like little cassette tapes. Just because Dennis, as you know, KD, is one of the most eclectic people that you'll meet with their vibe and their music and things like that. It's so deep with him, and that carries over in his soap with the soap names, the soap smells, and everything. He puts a lot of work into it. You can buy these online. You can actually get them custom made. A couple of years ago, for my wife's birthday, I had a custom set with her favorite smell and colors, and I had her name put on them. So we had a gift basket made that Black Star Soap sent right to my home. But you can also get them here locally. I wanted to show you right here, Pigtails and Crew Cuts, which is at the Barbersville Mall, and it's right next to Best Buy in that plaza. You can go there and get them in person if you want to go and try a couple of them. It's another friend of ours from back there in August of 97. But can't say enough about Dennis, can't say enough about this product, and we want to thank him for giving us a fresh look that's going to show up on all of our brands. It's not just this, but ThunderCast Live, powered by ignite.link, has a brand new logo, and ThunderCast Mobile has a brand new logo. So thanks to Dennis. Show him some love. I use these. This is not something that we're just throwing up here because we got a logo and we had to do it. For about 6 years now, I've not had any other soaps except for this. We have them delivered directly to our home, and I even use them in the Southside Suite. We actually have little bars that say the Southside Suite for custom logo and branding on that.
Yep, I have used these before as well. These are great soaps. They smell really, really good, and it sticks with you. It's not like a wash with it, rinse it off, and it's gone type thing. These are like some high quality stuff. This is a very boutique type deal. Give Black Star Soaps a shot. I mean, order a set, order a couple of bars, or head down by Best Buy and see if they pass your smell test, right? I just don't think you will be disappointed. We're not out here pitching just any damn thing. These are things we have used and that we enjoy using, and we think that you will too. So I appreciate Dennis too. He's been a longtime friend. I mean, just like Russ, we're going on 30 years of knowing Dennis, and I really appreciate him helping us with this project. And he's a Herd alum, so
Yeah.
Herd fans like doing business with Herd fans.
Herd alum, huge Herd fan. Most of the people, if they are around in the 90s at Marshall, they're going to know exactly who Dennis is. One of the most creative people I've ever been around. It seems like he was just good. He was a great DJ, great at graphic design, makes his own cold press soaps, and old school to the bone. And you're going to get that vibe here. Like this one here, Shake Yo Money or Shake Yo Honey Maker. Everything's just got a cool kind of vibe to it and everything. Yeah. And this is just the soaps. I mean, I'm going to take you real quick before we sign off. Take you back up to the top, and over here on the track list, he's got lotions, sugar scrubs, side B goodies. You can get gift cards, give them away. Send these as gifts for Christmas presents and birthdays and things like that. Have them shipped directly to somebody's house. If you have an Airbnb, have a custom name put on there. Have your name put on there and stock them for your people. You can get box sets over here, and the custom cuts up there was what I'll go to that in just a second. But doesn't get any better than that. The box set, it comes in a boom box. Custom cuts, you put your touches on this. You know, you can name it. You can if you have retail shops, boutiques, corporate gifting, client appreciation, all that stuff's on there. But you can have it say what you want on there and shipped out. Private label. So it doesn't get any better. Thanks again, Dennis. And we hope you will go to BLAQSTARSOAPS, blackstarsoaps.com, and start showing this Herd alum some love as well. Herd fans love doing business with Herd fans.
That's right, man. That's right.
All right, KD.
As we get out of here, the last thing I'm going to say to you is a happy 4th anniversary. It has been an absolute blast doing this show. We have grown bigger than I really ever thought we were going to grow, and we're only 4 years in. And I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. The people seem to enjoy what we do, so I enjoy what we do. So I'm just going to keep doing it. How about you?
Yeah, me, you, and Jed. And we're just going to keep chugging right along. But I'm going to take us out of here and say, whether you see us at the Jack, whether you see us at the Joan, or whether you see us buying some Black Star soaps and supporting a Herd alum, no matter where you see us, we're going to be saying, go Herd.
Go Herd. I'll see you at the spring game, I hope. I'm already looking forward. I got like 6 days of work left, and then I start vacation, baby. I'm ready to roll. See you next week.